The Ghana Education Service is set to roll out in September a new school curriculum that puts greater emphasis on literacy and numeracy. The new curriculum will also make the study of the history of Ghana a compulsory subject from class 1 to 6. Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Professor Kwesi Opoku-Amankwa, has been outlining key elements of the curriculum and the launch of new school uniforms for students in public junior high schools at the news conference here in Accra. Maxwell Agbagba has more in this report.
According to the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Professor Kwesi Opoku-Amankwa, the last time a new curriculum was introduced was in 2007. He added that it is standard practice to review educational curriculum every 5 years. Professor Kwesi Opoku-Amankwa provided further details about the new curriculum and uniforms.
The new curriculum that we are rolling out has some key features that we want to highlight. At the KG, the number of subjects have been reduced from 7 to 4. And within the 4 subjects, we will do more in-depth teaching. At the lower and upper primary, the number of subjects remains the same. However, there will be more depth in each subject with greater emphasis on literacy and numeracy. School uniforms for junior high schools. And the minister, through consultations, presented a memo to cabinet, which was duly accepted for us to change the junior high school uniform from next academic year.
On teachers writing exam questions on chalkboards, he said steps have now been put in place for all districts to get printing machines for their exam papers next term. The National Council for Curriculum and Assessment designed the new syllabus. Dr. Prince H. Ama, who is part of the team, said, amongst other features of the new curriculum, students will be assessed in a national test at stages 2, 4, and 6.
So you see, the point is that if people are experience the curriculum, they need to be able to, we need to be able to track the progress of these people, you know, and so that we do not wait until they get to, say, junior high school before we are able to tell where they have gotten to. So largely, what the assessment would seek to do is try to find out where the young people are doing, where, at what level they are, so that it will then provide a basis for us to do intervention. Now, because this is a standard-based curriculum, different from the previous one, there are standards that will be set. So at the end of KG1, or sorry, at the end of primary 2, at the end of primary 4, at the end of primary 6, there are specific competencies that the young person should be able to demonstrate at that level and then probably at subject level.
There will also be a change in school uniforms for students at the junior high school stage. Chairman of the Ghana Education Service Governing Council, Michael Nsowa, explained the change in uniform is meant to make junior high school students psychologically aware of their transition.
Over the years, basic education is up to GHS level. Now, we want to move the GHS level to become the lower part of the senior secondary school. Just like the British education system. We all use up to P6. In Ghana, everybody would have finished primary school. In UK, yes, they also finished primary school doing 6 years. When they move to the lower secondary, they call it year 7, year 8, year 9. That's what they call the lower secondary. And the upper secondary is just 2 years. And so, psychologically, if these children are now going to operate at the lower end, and psychologically they realize they are no longer in the primary level because they were wearing the same uniforms. So if you are in a secondary school, They will even feel proud that, yeah, this is distinguishing them from the primary children.
To engage some parents on the curriculum reforms announced by the Ghana Education Service for Basic School. We had two of them share their thoughts on the issues, from the introduction of new subjects at the junior high school level to new assessment regimes and a change in uniforms for public junior high school students. One of them has a child in primary 6, another in JHS 1 and 2 others in primary school. The other has a niece in class 6. Joining us is Komenda Sugar caught up with them at Adabraka here in Accra.
Next year, okura nkwala be 4 obeto bia tare na wapam ayesa na ho kire nso abaye so bi se sika ne ho te ka ba na obeboa ye dia e na senkeye esa o moa ye dia enya dia ye betimi.
Okay, so all she's saying is that she has 4 children, all of them are in the public school, and it's going to be a huge burden on them because they would have to buy the materials. And so for all these 4 children who are in upper primary and going to JHS to change their uniform, essentially new uniforms now from next year, what's sister Bano so Pam this new uniform I share. What Jane was saying?
Says I buy the bed boy because now which row so bed boy it drew on us of a boy. So I'm why dear Nenya dear you see being scarce suffer from a tin pan on our beshe.
She agrees with Na that it's going to be an economic burden on their families because they would have to cough up extra amounts of money to buy, you know, this cloth and then sew for the children. But buying so I can say, ye be biafa, moti in craig crassina, omunis can beto, man, and the ombeshe, I be biafa. Now, and also, you don't agree with it?
So, saying, Crahano. And Yanina, I benya sikasa. Say Hano, so no, I did be a boy then. And te yanso, a one cran higher bread.
Okay, she says, granted that their colleagues or their counterparts in the rural areas are deprived, they also here in Accra also are having a hard time, you know, raising cash because generally conditions are tough for them.
Say, there I say, I guess obey a man crass a phone. Yes, I am my crew phone because he ain't I pay. Be a much reno.
Yes, no, not in Colano, or Moko school from primary son, Mulu JHS 3 and no my BC, I be exam mama, all the students on more JHS 3, but Siciano, Nkolan do class 2, on be sa exam nama, or the whole Ghana, class 2 Nkolan exam, or Mudu class 4, the same thing. The reason they say, or more identify strengths and weaknesses, baby and Colano idea, baby or monya idea, so that by the time we do JHS 3, no, or more boa other areas, non Colanishan idea, no, or more boa could do JHS 3. What Jane was saying?
Send it, a pese or monia, when a munsia dear na, or monson quenim, and teso himself by an sama, a boan Colana dia, send it, and also near some country, there a yana everywhere.
She says it's a good idea if that is what is going to help their children, you know, better themselves right through the ranks and up until they get to JHS3, then that is fantastic. But also Jane was saying,
You see a good day. Yes, I remember crying at this Yanacoso. But so go how when you might into obey and who say some moments and obey the obey pass it. See, and no see a good.
She says it's a laudable initiative. Another thing I'm kind of say, introduce course be your friend history in Ghana. Ghana for bakwa semne baby are you free to tinsem ni na you be examining students no on this particular subject on beka and also what you saying.
And also ya sebe ya tete asam na enyira. Sa nkwala na omunnim no onso omusua no ma hu se tete ho sei na omoye awo tete ho no mte omonso be hu tete asam no bi nte yesa nso a eye.
Okay, she says it will, you know, enrich the students, the knowledge base of the students, that they would not lose sight of the history of a country in terms of the culture and everything else. They will grow up with all these. Now, if you want to say social studies now, omo yes siano. It was about 70 cents and 70 die.
Oh, and she because one says so you call baby a tree as I social to know the enfant. And no crab one crana more mate tete abakwa somewhere because I crab or crab be standing tete abakwa some nim dear beer. So no see you good.
Right, so we put that question out to you out there on social media, that what do you make of the new school uniforms for the junior high school? And we have over 5,000 people voting so far, 5,100 votes so far, and 29% say great decision, and then we also have a 71% saying it's a misplaced priority. You can still go and continue to vote. We have some comments also underneath it, and we'll be sharing those comments with you later on in the bulletin during Joy News Interactive. So the poll is still on. You can go out there and get to vote. Now, moving on to other stories, government is being urged to abandon any intention to dispose of the Komenda Sugar Factory. The $35 million factory built during the John Mahama administration was intended to save the country the massive amounts of foreign exchange used to import sugar, whilst also providing jobs. The factory has, however, been idle, with its machinery said to be rotting away, despite promises by the current administration to revive it. The trade minister told Parliament last week government will decide by the end of the month what to do with it after processes to identify a strategic investor are concluded. Joy News has meanwhile cited a technical committee report which revalues the factory at $12 million. And Member of Parliament for Komenda, Samuel Atamil, says it would amount to armed robbery if government goes ahead to sell the factory, especially at that value.
They are valuing this at $12 million. That is armed robbery. How can a country borrow $35 million to build a factory? And this factory was valued at $35 million when it was built. How come a very short time you are telling us that it's valued at $12 million? What happened to the $22 or $23 million? This is armed robbery. And I think the Auditor General needs to get involved. The Auditor General needs to get involved and then investigate. The Special Prosecutor needs to get involved and investigate. A factory, look, if the value was not $35 million, let us know about it. But how can we build a $35 million factory and then value it at $12 million? If it was the same company that valued at $35 million when NDC was in power, and it's now valuing at $12 million when MPP is in power, God forgive us.
You think there's something wrong somewhere?
Of course it has to be. Yeah, of course there has to be a problem somewhere. How come when NDC is in power it's a different price, and then when MPP is in power it's a different price? If that is what the reports show, I'll be very much surprised, and I wouldn't think an internationally renowned company like this will put its reputation on the floor like this.
He urged government to at least retain a stake in the factory.
The government should have shares in it. The government should have ownership. And then maybe we could have an investor who would partner with government. Let's sell our airport then. We don't need it. An investor can come and take over the airport and then pay us whatever money. What do we need Bank of Ghana for? Sell it to an investor. The thing is, the private investor coming, his main aim is profitability and to protect shareholders' equity. A government, your purpose is not profitability, but to make sure that your citizens are served and served properly. And just to come with an investor without anybody knowing about it, what kind of value are they going to put on this factory? Why can't the government come with an investor that the government will have shares in it? Are we going to sell it the way that we sold Ghana Airways?
Are you afraid that's what will happen?
That is my fear.
Okay.
That is my fear. Will this investor think about the citizens of that area? Will the farmers over there get jobs? Will the youth over there get jobs? Was that the purpose for building this? I know the Ministry of Trade and Industry will not be able to run it, but the factory. But let's have a management team. just like we have so many other government-owned factories or businesses. Let's sell cocoa ball to an investor and then sit down and just wait.
Meanwhile, residents of Komenda in the Central Region are expressing frustrations with government over the delay in reviving the sugar factory there. Though the factory has encountered several challenges even before the Kufuor government assumed office, it promised to get the factory working. That promise is however yet to be fulfilled, and the residents say they've had enough of the excuses. Richard Kojunyako sending this report from Komenda.
So the 30th of May was when this Komenda Sugar Factory was commissioned by President John Dramani Mahama. It was the same day little Akosua was also born at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. Now, next month, Akosua will be 3 years. Akosua is growing beautifully. But the Komenda Sugar Factory is simply refusing to grow. There are no activities here that would romance the machines in there to produce the sugar, the very purpose for which the Komenda Sugar Factory was established. Ever since it was commissioned, the structure is gradually rusting away. Now, ever since it was commissioned, days have been swallowed into weeks, weeks have been swallowed into months, and months have been swallowed into years. But here is the factory that stands idle. Isaac Bentum used to work in the old Komenda Sugar Factory. In fact, he learnt many skills here, but now he strolls by the Komenda Sugar Factory carrying a painful heart.
I am here. Opening Akufado. The Swabi, no sort of man, family working on Okodu. What I should know would you? Ma Bibi Sisiano. Factory the one what the matter.
I am sad at what is happening. I was looking forward to the continuation of the Komenda Sugar Factory after a change in government. By now, we should have been seeing vigorous planting of sugarcane to feed the factory. I have worked in the Komenda Sugar Factory for the past 17 years. I learned how to drive here. I used to drive Caterpillar and other machines. But now, it pains me that the factory has become a white elephant. So this is the Komenda town, and as you can see, a lot of people are gathered here. The young and the old are here. They are playing drafts. They tell me that it's because they don't have anything to do. They were hoping that the Komenda Sugar Factory would operate so that some of them would get some jobs to do.
Sugar factory,
my name is Mr. Oting. If the sugar factory were working, you wouldn't have come here to see us playing drafts. There is no job here apart from fishing. Now the fishing industry is not doing any better. We are pleading with government to make the Komenda Sugar Factory work. Our youth here have now turned into thieves and prostitutes.
Komenda factory.
It was our expectations that the government would make the sugar factory work. But nothing has happened to the Komenda Sugar Factory. The money that was used to construct the factory is not a paltry amount. It is our own money that is being wasted. We want government to do something about it to get the factory running.
Na say aje emphasize the bra obama men so no so wakoye dim
because edwuma na wan ye no aka he nso aye wo kro nim nti apere ye sra aban dey on sugar factory no ombrado na wan ye edwuma wo kro na nso ye pamade no nso amanfo na wo.
We are pleading with government to make the sugar factory work. There is no job here. It has made some of us very vulnerable.
Nti edwuma bi ale ni kro yim nti wa men nso ye de yon ho kire na pa ye be edwuma ye betina hwa nwumbir.
This factory was constructed with a cost of $35 million, and the residents say it breaks their hearts to watch the factory waste away. The factory now is rusting away, standing idle with no activity to produce the sugar that has been touted about for years. From the Komenda Sugar Factory, my name is Richard Kojunyako for Joy News.
Right, we're taking a break here on Joy News Prime. We're still hiding the bulletin, the legislation seeking to outlaw party militia activities is proposing prison terms of up to 25 years for offenders, and it could be passed as early as next month. But coming up in business in a bit, the Ghana Revenue Authority is optimistic it will meet its revenue target despite a downward review of import duties.
What we are saying is that there will be a revenue loss, but the quantum may be expressible by the level of the growth in the goods that come through the system. So that to the extent that the goods are increasing in volume, and it may minimize the loss that may be the giveaway.
And aggrieved customers of GN Bank and Gold Coast Securities demonstrated in the Upper West Region capital, demanding that the Bank of Ghana and the Securities and Exchange Commission facilitates a release of their deposits.
Until we get all our monies. Prior to the demonstration, we will pack all our luggages with our mattresses and turn all branches of GN Bank and Gold Coast Securities Company as sleeping places.
Parliament will, on April 29, 2019, hold an emergency session to approve the Vigilantism and other related offences bill that seeks to outlaw the activities of vigilante groups. Attorney General Gloria Kufu laid the document on the floor of Parliament on Thursday, requesting it be treated with urgency. The Speaker referred it to the Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs to determine its urgency, but minority MPs initially raised objections.
Of the House. Honourable members, the outstanding order 119, the determination of the urgency or otherwise of the bill for the purposes of its consideration by Parliament is the prerogative of the relevant committee of Parliament. In this regard, honourable members, the House shall await the determination of the Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs on the referral, mindful, of course, that this honourable House is expected to adjourn sine die tomorrow, Friday, 12 April 2019. Is referred accordingly. Yes, honourable minority leader.
The nature of the bill and the matters that it is seeking to regulate, in my view, requires broader consultation, in my view.
And for you, what will be the consequence if it's really pushed through under certificate of urgency?
It might be ineffective in dealing with vigilantism. We need the Peace Council, we need IDEC, which has been speaking on this matter, we need the police.
To really deal with this, we need to work together to understand what it is, and then to be able to pass a legislation. And if you are pushing us to do this within a day, 24 hours, in fact, it's not 24 hours, because we're going to sit here for the next, let's say, 5-6 hours. And so within 5-6 hours, we must pass this. That is not right. We are dealing with an issue about freedom of speech. We are dealing with an issue of freedom of assembly. And we are dealing with the right of political parties to exist and to function.
Recommendations of the eminent commission would have enriched this law. Who knows that some very significant recommendations have been made based on all the work they did, the experts they spoke to, and all of that. That will inform this legislation for it to be a good law. You can have, it's not just about rushing to pass a law. You can have a bad law.
But the Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs, in its report to the House, concluded the bill is an urgent one, but will not be strictly treated as such.
Duly consider the urgency or otherwise of the bill and determines by a unanimous decision that the bill is of an urgent nature and may be taken through all the stages in one day in accordance with Article 106(3)(13) of the Constitution and Order 119 of the Standing Orders of the House. The committee, however, recommends to the House to allow sufficient time to enable the committee to engage political parties, civil society organizations, security experts, and other stakeholders to solicit their views and perspectives towards the enactment of a robust law to combat the menace.
All stakeholders should please, in this connection, send their views, including all political parties, immediately to Parliament for consideration and report by our committee. The table office is further ordered, honourable members, so that honourable members order. Furthermore, I direct that the table office should ensure the motion in this connection is deleted for a date we resume work on the 29th of April for urgent deliberation as 29th of April. On the very first day we resume, it must be there for our urgent consideration. This bill further.
Deputy Attorney General Joseph Penka says government is committed to dealing with the problem of vigilantism, hence the push to get the bill passed.
Yes, it's of an urgent nature, but remember the committee put in a little caveat. The fact that there's a need for us to consult a few stakeholders, the political parties and other stakeholders. If you look at it, it does not cover only just vigilante groups, but it includes, but not limited to, land guards and etc. They are all part of it. So there has to be some level of consultation. The determination that is of an urgent nature is not in dispute. It's been unanimously done. But what is left now is for us to do a few consultations with some stakeholders to fine-tune it. And then when we come to sit to look at it, we will pass it through one day. All the stages will go to first reading, second reading, third reading, and everything will be done within a day because it's been determined. That, of course, that is why Mr. Speaker says that we will return here on the 29th. He announced that on the floor. And I think that when we return, since both sides are unanimously in agreement that we should go ahead with it of an urgent nature, it will be passed to law.
The minority asking that the Iowa West Wagon Commission inquiry report, they would want it published and a white paper on it put out before any further work on this goes on. Otherwise, then, you know, the input from there may not be captured after all, despite all the work.
No, please. We are not to stampede His Excellency the President into doing his work. We cannot stampede him. The truth of the matter is that they haven't told us that His Excellency the President, by not releasing it as of now, has flouted any law or legislation for that matter. All they are saying is that it has delayed. And what constitutes delay is subjective. So I can say that His Excellency the President is doing due diligence on that report. And at the appropriate time, the white paper will be issued. They shouldn't be in a hurry at all.
Aggrieved customers of GN Bank and Gold Coast Securities on Thursday demonstrated in WA demanding the Bank of Ghana and Securities and Exchange Commission immediately facilitate the release of customers' deposits. They are also demanding the arrest of the chairman of the GN Group, Dr. Papakwesi Indum. Rafiq Salam reports from WA.
The aggrieved customers of GM Bank and Gold Coast Securities first converged at the forecourt of the WA Glamour, located on the rolling streets, before moving into some principal streets in the heart of the WA municipality. Organizers of the demonstration pegged the number of customers whose monies are locked up with the bank and the investment firm at a little over 2,000, but less than 100 persons came out for the demonstration. They held placards, some of which read, "So Ghana is now an animal kingdom. Don't be wicked, Indum. Our marriages are collapsing, and Bank of Ghana, let the law work for all." Convener of Upper West Aggrieved Customers of GM Bank and Gold Coast Securities, near Barbara Isaac, said they held a series of meetings with the WA branch of GM Bank and Gold Coast Securities to come up with roadmap for them to be paid. It however appeared they are taking their patience for granted, hence the demonstration today.
And so the promise was that by March 2019, they will pay us our monies.
March ended, we went there, and there was no information for us. The most painful aspect of this issue is the silence nature of these companies, that they wouldn't even give us any information.
The aggrieved customers finally ended at the forecourt of the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council, where spokesperson of the group, Stephen Kweng, read the petition and made the following demands.
That Bank of Ghana and SEC should facilitate the immediate release of customers' monies. That Dr. Pa Kwesi Indum and his cohorts should be arrested immediately to avoid what happened with #1. That BOG should, as a matter of urgency, merge GN Bank with a financially stable bank or seek for financial intervention from other stakeholders and agencies to pay us. The customers of Gold Coast Securities Company who want to stop their investment for any reason should be allowed to do so and pay their corresponding amounts as early as possible within the approved bank interest rates accordingly.
They want to see action on the petition within a week.
After 1 week of this release, we will continue to stage massive demonstrations every week until we get all our monies. Prior to the demonstration, we will pack all our luggages with our mattresses and turn all branches of GN Bank and Gold Coast Securities Company as sleeping places until we receive our hard-earned monies. And after all this, we will cause legal action against GN Bank and his.
Retired midwife Christiana Dakura has 58,000 Ghana cedis deposited with Gold Coast Securities. For the past 8 months, the money is locked up and she can't hold body and soul together.
Even my daughter went and delivered at the regional hospital, whereby she lost blood and needed blood. I went to DM Bank in November, and I couldn't even withdraw money from my savings. We want our monies. All those who came out, there are some people who could not join us because of some other ill health, but all the customers, we want our money.
Chief Director of the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council, Gilbert Nurotek, who represented Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz Bin Sali, thanked the demonstrators for demonstrating peaceful and pledged to send a petition to the appropriate quarters for the needed attention. Meanwhile, General Manager, Investor Relations and External Affairs of Gold Coast Fund Management, Benjamin Afre, speaking off camera, they are not intentionally locking up monies belonging to the customers. This, Mr. Afre said, they have even gone ahead, starting from last month, paying customers whose investments have matured. He assured the aggrieved customers that all monies deposited with them will be duly paid. Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has presented to Parliament the list of staffers at the Presidency. The report shows there are 957 workers at the Presidency in total. The list consists 292 political appointees as well as 665 civil and public servants. Minority spokesperson on Foreign Affairs Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, however, claims the Presidency breached the law because the report should have been presented at the end of last month.
The President must lead by example, so that when a law is explicit, it's clear, it's unambiguous, it says within 3 months. So you had between January and March to submit this report. And look at the constant reminders. You have been in this house every week, especially as we entered March and as March was coming to a close. We kept reminding the President. Now the President submits this just a day for us to rise. We now have to wait for copies and to remember that this report has to be scrutinized, has to be debated. Very little time left, but well, I just hope that it was not all part of the strategy. But
why do you think they are doing that? Why do you think they delayed with it and they brought it this late? To hide something?
Well, I mean, it's difficult to really know why the President will be breaching the law. But it is not good for our country, the image of our country, the image of the President. He is a lawyer of repute, many years standing at the bar. He must be the fountain of honor. You know, all public servants should know that they will not get away when they violate our laws. The best way to know that is to see your superiors, all of us, our boss, the president himself, the commander-in-chief, leading by example. So I think that the conduct of the president is not glorious.
A planned eviction of traders at the fastest growing commercial hub in Kumasi is being resisted by affected persons who are seeking the intervention of political authority in the area. The Forukro Municipal Assembly ordered the traders at the KNUST junction to move out as part of a cleanup of the city for the climax of the 20th anniversary of Asante Hinu Tumfose Tutu II. The traders, however, argue the assembly must first fulfill its obligation to provide an alternative site for them. Nana Aljima has been following developments and filed this report.
Red armband-wearing traders invaded premises of Multimedia Group in Kumasi on Thursday to register their displeasure at the eviction directive. They accused the assembly of refusing to give them ample time to vacate, in addition to failing to make alternative space available. Regina Appiah speaks for the traders.
Just 3 days.
She says they gave us just 3 days and we pleaded for more time. The engineer told us they will come assess the place and give us feedback. They never came until 3 days ago to evict us. The angry traders proceeded to the Regional Coordinating Council to put their concerns before the regional minister. Tech Junction is now a fast-developing commercial center. Besides transport operators who ply various routes from there, all manner of structures from stalls, tables, metal containers keep coming up by the day. Right behind the walls of KNUST Hospital are sellers of all manner of food and other items. Municipal Engineer Gloria Esiedu Ampem tells Love News the assembly has since last year engaged the traders to relocate. She confirms plans to construct a modern trade enclave for them.
Earlier on, we met with the executives and we told them earlier that we have some plans. We did some drawings already that we're thinking that we would take care of everybody who is already there. So it's not like they are going for good, but we've made some drawings already that we will put the drawings into place. And then we are not going to even bring maybe other different people to that place. We are bringing the people who are already there, and we are going to do demarcation for each and every one. We spoke to them earlier, and we even sent letters, I think around October, and they came to plead last year, October 2018, that we should give them a chance that they will be there till 2019 December. So we're waiting that December they will live there.
Love News checks reveal authorities at KNUST are considering special sheds for selected traders to ensure sanity outside hospitals' main premises. Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah has extended the deadline for eviction from 1 week to a month, pending preparation of a new.
Residents of Adenta and Medina are calling on the Ghana Highway Authority to ensure the April-ending deadline for the completion of the footbridges there is met. The footbridges became a subject of concern after persistent pedestrian knockdowns on the highway last year. Joining us is Kenneth Ochodako has been monitoring progress of work and has come through with the following report.
Between January and 31st October 2018, the police MTTD recorded about 24 deaths and 164 injuries on the Adenta-Medina highway alone, prompting calls for the footbridges to be completed. Well, construction of the footbridges, which began in November, is nearing completion. At the time of our visit to the stretch on Sunday, work was ongoing as the engineers were seen busily installing iron rods, among other activities, to ensure the strength of the bridges. Some pedestrians who spoke with Joy News were hopeful the work would be completed by end of April 2019 deadline to reduce the number of accidents on the road.
I'm sure by the end of this month they will complete everything, because every Sunday they are working day and night, so I'm hoping they will complete things by schedule.
With the rate at which the work is actually going on, I think by the end of April, which is this month, probably. I'm not really sure though, but by how it's actually going, I think it can happen. We're just hoping to have a peaceful way of crossing the road and no more accidents, and just have a peaceful mind in the society. That's all we want.
In the next few weeks, it should be that I can see, even though I'm not the contractor, I can see that the project is almost
80% done. So in the next few weeks, it should be completed.
And what are you hoping to see after the completion of the project?
It's going to save our pedestrians from these dangerous crossings they've been taking part, and it causes accidents almost on a daily basis, and it's going to eliminate a lot of these roads accidents along this stretch of road.
Our news team also observed some defiant pedestrians jumping over barricades right under the footbridge, meters away from the pedestrian crossing in front of a Totu Teen school. A resident called on authorities to deploy officers to vantage points after completion to ensure that pedestrians and commuters alike make use of a facility.
Mostly no overhead, one way overhead, but
in certain areas, people still cross dangerously even where there are footbridges. An official must be stationed here to check these activities.
The completion of the footbridges is expected to ensure safe movement across the highway to either sides of the stretch. Kenneth Awache Darko's report for Joy News.
Now, Minister for Works and Housing Samuel Atachian says government is dedicating 194.5 million Ghana cedis to construct adequate drains to avert future flooding. The minister was in Parliament to deliver a statement on preparedness to contain flooding this rainy season. He says some contracts have been awarded across the country for the construction of concrete drains.
The contractors are being whipped to move on site because the anticipation of the rains has come too early. We thought that if we want to see rains, we are about in the June thereabout. But even in March, we saw rains. So we are just whipping our contractors to go on site and go and silt. Those who are supposed to do concrete channels will do the concrete channels to mitigate the probable effect of storm, which is in excess, and then the destruction. But the main thing we are doing is that if you look at what we call the Odor Challenge, the World Bank is involved, and we want to do a permanent fix. And when that is done, it's going to kick off next year. When that is done, we'll see serious changes in Accra. But let me warn the whole nation that it is only Accra that we have drainage challenges. The whole nation is challenged by it, and we are being mocked by it year in, year on. Are we ready to go to the capital market, raise good money, huge monies to fix drainage, as we did for cocoa? If you are not able to do that, I'm afraid we'll be coming back and using the word perennial. No matter the dam pour, because of the arrangements of, they've put in place engineering arrangements, you won't have what we had in June 3rd. The June 3rd scenario cannot happen because of how they are going to open the drains, open the lagoon and the rest of the engineering they want to do, so that no matter how heavy the dam pour, you'll find the sewage going to where it belongs. It will not spill over into houses and get people drowned and the rest of it.
Right, thank you very much, Mapitso, and I'm Israelite. Thank you very much for watching. You have a good night.